I'm going to make this video under the assumption that the average viewer doesn't know too much about thatguywiththeglasses.com, the Spoony one, or the recent controversy between them. So first of all, thatguywiththeglasses.com. A lot of you are probably familiar with the Nostalgia Critic, either through his YouTube or through That Guy with the Glasses. Thatguywiththeglasses.com was, I'm not certain if it was started up by him or his brother or both, but it's a website that a lot of video game reviewers like Angry Joe, Nostalgia Critic, music reviewers like Todd in the Shadows, and movie reviewers like, again, the Nostalgia Critic and the Nostalgia Chick are all part of this website. It's like a big conglomerate of online reviewers, and it's probably the biggest website out there for that type of thing. Now, the second biggest is probably the Angry Video Game Nerd. Now, I'm not saying the Angry Video Game Nerd's any worse. Let's not get into that fight. But because he's by himself, or I guess he has Mike with him, so there are only 2 people on his website, whereas That Guy with the Glasses has like a couple dozen people. So anyway, now after That Guy with the Glasses, and then probably second biggest being Angry Video Game Nerd, below that, in terms of size, you probably have the Spoony one, who's known for his website, The Spoony Experiment, as well as being on YouTube. Now, his review style is different than all the others. He makes very long reviews and commentaries that can often drag on to be over an hour in length. He's known for his commentaries on the Ultima series, which are really good, and games like Phantasmagoria 2, which she did pretty humorous reviews on. It's the same style in terms of it being a humorous review, but he comments on the game as he plays it. It's almost like a Let's Play. In fact, he's done a lot of Let's Plays as well. Now, I started watching the Spoony one probably back in either late June or early July, and I quickly grew to like him a whole lot. I found his Ultima reviews to be very informative, but also very funny. He seemed to know a whole lot about movies. He could reference tons of movies that I'd never heard of and ones I had heard of. He seemed to really know what he was talking about. And probably the long length of his reviews gave him a chance to kind of show that off in a way that most reviewers don't get to, because their reviews are too short to really put in a lot of allusions and references. So recently, there was a bit of a controversy because Spoony worked at thatguywiththeglasses.com for a while. He worked there for, I think, maybe 2 years, a year or so. I'm not exactly sure, because I've only become a fan of him recently. But the Cliff Notes version of the controversy is, and I'll go into more detail later, that Spoony made a comment to a person called Jesu Otaku, that's her name as a reviewer, of course, on Twitter. She was offended by it. Some of her friends got involved, and because Jesu Otaku worked at That Guy with the Glasses, Spoony ended up pretty much getting fired. Now, first of all, I want to address one thing. On thatguywiththeglasses.com, the official statement about this is called A Farewell to Noah Antweiler, aka Spoony One, with CA. CA meaning Channel Awesome. I'm going to quote the message here. So, after recent events, Noah, the Spoony One, Antweiler, and Channel Awesome have decided to part ways. Noah has made it clear that he wishes to pursue a course that is different from our own. We feel that with these different aims, it is better for Noah to be free to pursue his own goals unhindered by us. Noah has been an immense talent on the site, and we thank him for his years of hard service, both in numerous episodes of the Spoony Experiment and in the Channel Awesome Anniversary films. We sincerely wish him the best in all future endeavors, and hope he continues to put out great quality work. Signed, the staff at Channel Awesome. And on the Spoony One's website, there's a very similar statement, essentially saying that he chose to leave. I think it's a very dubious idea. The controversy coming at the same time, some people say it's a coincidence. I guess it could be. But I find it very unlikely that he would work there for multiple years, show no signs, not mention leaving, and then all of a sudden just decide to leave, coincidentally, right when this controversy I'm about to talk about happens. It seems very unlikely to me. And aside from that, in a lot of Spoony's recent videos, He's had this reoccurring villain character from the Ultima series called the Guardian. And the Guardian has made fun of him, saying stuff like, "Oh, your coworkers have abandoned you," or stuff like that. So that definitely that doesn't even really imply. That pretty explicitly says that Spoony was fired. He didn't quit. At least that's the position I'm taking up. If you want to discuss that in the comments, feel welcome to. I'll discuss it with you within reason. So how did this whole controversy that ended up of Spoony getting fired begin? Well, like I said, he sent a Twitter message to another reviewer on the site called Jesu Otaku. Now, from what I understand, Jesu Otaku had recently had some problem with a boyfriend, or she'd broken up, something like that. But Jesu Otaku is a female reviewer, she does anime. Spoony sent her this message. I'm going to quote it pretty much word for word. Sorry if you find it a little inappropriate. It's not something I normally would put on my channel, but I do want to quote it word for word because it's kind of important to understand a little controversy. So he said, "If things don't work out with your boyfriend, I'd be happy to chain you up in my basement and love you. My way." Okay, that's more than a little creepy, but that was clearly the intent. From what I'm told, this is a rape joke. Now, maybe I'm stupid or maybe I'm naive, but I don't necessarily see that as a rape joke. It's definitely sexual in nature. I don't think anyone can deny that. But I didn't quite see anything in there that said that it would be not consensual. I mean, you never know. That could happen consensually. Without discussing it in detail, that could happen consensually. But even going on the idea that maybe it was an inappropriate joke, maybe even a rape joke, Spoony did apologize for it later. Jesu Otaku made it clear that she was uncomfortable with that. So now we're getting a couple different people involved, and not to mention the organization of that guy with the glasses. I'm going to start rating them on a obviously very subjective scale of 1 to 10 on how guilty they are of just messing up this situation, because it gets to be a real mess. And it's one of those horrible situations where everyone did things kind of wrong. So Spoony at this point is clearly, he fired the first shot, the first real shot anyway. And yeah, it was inappropriate, but he apologized for it. Jesu Otaku had every right to be offended if she felt it was an offensive comment. So probably Jesu Otaku is the one exception to what I said just before. She's the only one who I think has no guilt. On a scale of 1 to 10, she's a 0. She's not guilty at all. Now Spoony, yeah, he shouldn't have left a comment, but it was intended as a joke. He apologized for it, made it clear that he didn't want anyone to be offended by it. It wasn't intended to offend, so I don't think he's too guilty. But we're not done yet, because this by itself I don't think would have gotten him fired. He made things a little worse for himself. So after this, another reviewer on the site called Obscurus Lupa, I'm just going to call her Lupa, she came in, apparently a friend of Jesu Otaku, and this was like a month later, and it seems like Lupa had some sort of a problem with Spoony. I have no idea where this problem came from. I have no idea whose fault it was, if anybody. But I do know that Lupa seemed to take advantage of the situation to kind of air some dirty laundry. She apparently had some problems with Spoony. She went after him, which I find to be kind of disgusting. Because look, she was not a part of this fight to begin with. This fight should have ended right here. But Lupa brought it back up. And honestly, Jesu Otaku and Spoony had both stopped fighting over this. They were cool. They were cool with each other at this point. So Lupa brought it back up. And that, I think, that's what really turned this into a big controversy that ended up getting Spoony fired. You know, she apparently had some problems with Spoony. Look, I always hate it when people bring up their problems with someone in a battle of any kind between two other people. It's like, look, you gotta solve your problems on your own. Don't kick someone while they're down, first of all. And second of all, just find a more mature way to deal with your problems. Come on. Now, to be fair, Lupa later apologized for this. The feeling I get from this is that Lupa wanted people to be angry at Spoony. She wanted revenge. She was very vengeful. But when he got fired, she kind of looked back and went, oh, shoot, maybe I went a little too far. So I would give Lupa a scale of 1 to 10. I'd say she's guilty at about a 6. Because, look, you just shouldn't air your dirty laundry like this, and it got someone fired. But on the other hand, I don't think it was her intent to get him fired. She did apologize. So I would give her a 6, but I'm going to lower it down to a 4, because I think her apology was genuine, and I think it went a lot further than she meant. Okay, now I'm going to move to talking about how guilty is that guy with the glasses as a website and as just a conglomerate of all these people. Now, I do not think Spoony should have been fired for this. Even if people do take it as a joke about rape, which is obviously inappropriate to joke about, look, because it was intended as a joke and it was not intended to offend, you should have warned him. You should have said, hey, look, Spoony, you can't joke about that. It's not appropriate. People are offended by it. Don't do it again. It shouldn't have been you just jumped to firing the guy all of a sudden. That seems to be a bit too extreme of a position to take. And I get the feeling that they were very much just trying to defend their own interests. Like, they didn't want the bad publicity, they didn't want to be associated with this battle. And the fact that at this point Spoony was getting angry on his Twitter, and he was making things worse for himself. He was getting into arguments with people. Even his own followers. There was just so much negativity around it. I feel like that guy with the glasses kind of took the easy way out in firing him. Just saying, oh, hey, we had nothing to do with that. Now, why was Spoony responding to his followers in a harsh way and being aggressive toward his own followers and other people? Well, it's hard to say. He certainly wasn't thinking straight, Don't take this the wrong way, but he is known to suffer from clinical depression, which I think, he was probably feeling very depressed about this. He was probably maybe beginning to feel a little desperate because of all the criticism he was getting. He probably felt really bad. Honestly, in his recent videos, he's looked really tired. He looks beat, frankly. This probably caused his depression to get really bad. And that might explain a lot of why his response was not the most well thought out thing ever. And maybe why it was a little extreme. But on the other hand, I don't think you can blame him too much for that. I certainly don't blame him from a moral point of view. But either way, that guy with the glasses, I've already read you the statement that they left. Their statement is pretty good, I think. The way I look at the actions of that guy with the glasses.com in firing Spoony is I wish they had the guts to stand up and do what I feel was right. But on the other hand, I do understand them firing him. They are taking the easy way out, which I don't like. But on the other hand, I do get it from a capitalistic point of view. They're just doing what's in their best interest. So because of that, out of 10, I rate them at a 5. They did the wrong thing, but I get it. It was kind of maybe, you could think of it as being very capitalist or being Machiavellian even. They did something because it was in their best interest. I just wish they had stood up and done something better. And that is why the Epic Armada, that is that guy with the glasses.com, gets a rating of 5 for their guilt. Now finally we get around to the guy who is most widely regarded as the villain. Everything that I said Lupa did wrong? Airing her dirty laundry, clearly having some problems with Spoony before that, and taking advantage of this situation to bring it out and try to hit him while he was already down. Whoa. Well, let me introduce you to a guy called Lord Cat. Oh yeah, he did that and way more. This is the guy I feel is really guilty here. So he also apparently had a problem with Spoony that went way back. But Lord Cat had already left that guy with the glasses by this time. He had been gone for, I think, like a year. I'm not really sure. I don't really watch his videos. But Lord Cat is one of the older reviewers on the site. It's not to say he's old, but he's been around. And he, like I said, had some problems with Spoony that went back. And he took advantage of this, even after Lupa came out, to kick Spoony while he was really down. And this guy kept doing it never apologized for it, and kept doing it again and again, even after Spoony had already been fired. And like I said, Spoony never sent a comment to this guy publicly before this, that I know of. Certainly, it wasn't anything that has to do with the joke that Spoony made to Jesu Otaku. So Lord Cat just took advantage of this situation to come out and hit Spoony as hard as he could, apparently for some kind of revenge or because of some sort of old problem. Now, my subscribers are going to know that this maybe gets a little personal for me, but one reason I feel Lord Cat is so guilty is because Lord Cat essentially told Spoony to go kill himself. Now, keep in mind, Spoony is actually depressed, too. So, this is an incredibly inappropriate thing to say, even if it was intended as a joke, which I don't think it was, honestly. You know, at least Spoony, what he said was a joke. And at least the person he said it to had never been through that. Lord Cat actually told someone who is severely depressed to go kill themselves. That is pretty low. And in fact, not only is it low, not only is it vengeful, not only is it immature, and not only is it cowardly, frankly, because, look, he waited to say that until Spoony was already down and people were already kicking him. But it's also immensely hypocritical. Because Lord Cat was going after Spoony for making supposedly a rape joke. Well, dude, do you not see the hypocrisy of that? You can't really call out someone for making a rape joke when you tell someone to go shoot themselves. You're kind of a hypocrite. I mean, do you really not see the irony of making such an inappropriate comment yourself? So Lord Cat, being hypocritical, being too cowardly to bring out his problems of Spoony, except when Spoony was already fired, and just making such inappropriate comments, and really having no real reason to do that, and not apologizing ever, and going on an hour-long rant against Spoony, after he'd already been through all this. Lord Cat gets a rating of 9 on the guilt meter. Why only 9? Why not 10? Well, for much the same reason that you don't really see Olympic athletes get 10 out of 10. Because, theoretically, something better, or in this case, something worse, could have been said. I don't know what, frankly, but I always have to leave open the door that something worse could happen. If I give him a 10, what am I going to do if someone does something worse, you know? So he gets a 9. And finally, what about Spoony? I haven't given him a rating yet. I talked a lot about what he did wrong. Now, looking in the context of Spoony being depressed and probably not thinking straight when he made some of his comments on Twitter, again, don't take that the wrong way. But having made this joke and having started this all off himself, I'm going to say Spoony does have some guilt in this, but I'm going to give him a 3. A 3 out of 10. Because the stupid things he said were intended to be a joke, or they all came when he was not feeling well, when he clearly wasn't doing too well. So clearly, he wasn't quite being himself. And in the end, that is my analysis of this just wretched situation with that guy with the glasses. As you can tell, this whole thing is a horrible quagmire. You know, no one got out of this unscathed except maybe Jesu Otaku. She's innocent. Alright, if she's offended by Spoony's comment, you know, she has the right to be. Lupa, well, at least she apologized. You know, she shouldn't have aired her dirty laundry in this situation. She shouldn't have gone after revenge, but she at least realized it went too far. That guy with the glasses.com, come on, guys. We should have stood up and done what was right. But, on the other hand, I can't blame him too much. Lord Cat, screw you. Like Lord Cat, there is no justifying what Lord Cat did. There was no reason for him to be involved in this little fight at all. And he got more involved than pretty much anybody else, except Spoony. And Spoony, I wish you could have controlled what you said a little bit better. I wish you hadn't gone off at people on Twitter. And you should have thought a little bit more about your joke. but none of those offenses are too bad, so you get off pretty easily. And everyone, that's my opinion about this. That's my understanding. You know, in a video this long, I probably got something wrong. Go ahead, bring it up in the comments. That's whatever, but try to be polite about it. Try to have a somewhat civil discussion. I know that's not gonna happen with a topic like this, but I do ask for it anyway, in vain. I will be deleting any comments that are really inappropriate or anything like that. And as a last little comment, when I started making this video, I wasn't quite sure how to get the actual video segments for it, so sorry if you're spending a long time looking at still pictures. I'm going to try to get some shots of the quotes that I'm quoting, and I'm going to try to put some video in there so you're not just looking at still pictures. Anyway, this has been a semi-scripted review, so sorry for all the ums and uhs in there. Sorry for the pauses. I'm going to try to edit them out as best I can. But I hope you all have been at least somewhat educated about the situation here. Feel free to express your own opinions. You don't have to agree with me. But do it politely, your comment will stay up. Do it impolitely, your comment will magically disappear. Because I want to have as civil discussion as we possibly can. Anyway, this has been a part of the 2Ube commentary. Please give it thumbs up or thumbs down, I don't care. Please comment, and please consider subscribing. Betray!